I've been a Bond fan since I was a kid. I've got the classic novels on my shelf, Aston Martin models, old Connery era vinyls, and yes, I also own the Walther P99 that Daniel Craig carried. My dad was a massive Bond fan before he passed away, and one of my last big memories with him is us marathoning the entire Bond 50 collection together on DVD. So needless to say that when I saw the trailer for 007 First Light, I was beyond excited. I'm Nelson, and in this channel I make honest gaming recommendations for people who are busy or who want a healthier gaming session with less stress and more fun. In this video, I'm going to break down my first impressions of the trailer and gameplay for 007 First Light, so let's get right into it. Now, I do want to mention that I did serve as a military police officer in the Army, so when I look at this game, I'm really looking at how Bond moves, how he handles weapons, or how he's clearing rooms. I really want to make sure and see that they try to make him into a professional operator instead of just another character in a tux shooting everything that moves. So, let's go. First Light is a standalone, reimagined origin story. This is awesome because we're going to get to see James Bond as a 26-year-old, and he is still just a naval air crewman who gets recruited into the newly revived 00 program after he does some heroic acts. Now, IO Interactive were very clear that this is not tied to any specific actor and it's not adapting one of the movies. It's their own continuity built on Fleming's books and the broader Bond universe. This game is designed so gamers can grow with this version of Bond over multiple games. So this is so exciting because this might mean that we might get a whole new series of Bond games, which we haven't had in a very long time. In the gameplay reveal, we see Bond disguised as a chauffeur driving a Jaguar XJ. We later on find out that it's actually Bond, Monroe, and Terrence, and they're heading up to track down 009 and get to the bottom of something called the Nightfall operations. Now pause for a second, because if you're a James Bond fan, then you've heard that 009 code name before, and you're right, you've heard it in the Spectre movie in 2015 with Daniel Craig.
Magnificent, isn't she? 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Fully bulletproof, a few little tricks up her sleeve. It's a shame, really. She was meant for you, but she's been reassigned to 009.
Where James Bond steals 009's Aston Martin from the Q headquarters before he heads off to Rome. So just a cool thing that they added there, which is awesome because that lets me know that they're going to follow some of the lore that is in the real James Bond movies and novels maybe, and I'm really excited to see more. We also come across this guy named John Greenway, which is working at MI6 and has some doubts about James Bond, but when I was looking and researching about the game, it looks like Greenway is some sort of mentor towards James Bond, and he's a new original character. I'm really interested in this character because if you guys recall on the last James Bond movies, there were rogue agents within the MI6 operation and organization, so it's really interesting to see how this John Greenway guy is going to play out in the game. Now, here are my biggest fears for this game at launch. Number one, I really want this game to be optimized because I want to play it in 4K with max settings, okay? And number two, I do not want this to drift into this live service nonsense where they have limited time celebrity targets like in Hitman. I want this to stay solely a James Bond game, and I really hope we get that. Now, in the scene when he's in the parking lot and he decides to kind of go off and do his own investigation, I really like this because it's trying to develop James Bond as a person who is curious, he is seeing his environment, he's paying attention to his surroundings, and that's kind of what makes James Bond who he is. He's great at catching people. We also see him looking around and analyzing the environment again. There's different ways to get to where he needs to get to. Now, here's one of the biggest questions that I think everyone has been having to this point, including myself, and is how much Hitman DNA is in this game. From the looks of it right now, I do see a lot of resemblance from the Hitman series, but I do feel like it's more cinematic. It just looks better. The game just looks a little bit better than Hitman, and obviously the characters here are very well fleshed out. They've got Patrick Gibson as the main actor for James Bond, which is amazing, right? Because this lets us know how much money was poured into this game. You guys have to understand something. The James Bond franchise is ginormous, right? And you don't just get to make a 007 game just because you feel like it. You have to get the licensing for James Bond. So for them to give that licensing that is already extremely valuable is a big deal. So they're really putting a lot of money into this game. And even the cinematics that I have been seeing, I can tell they've really put a lot of hard work into this. So I am really excited to see more. Another thing that I noticed, of course, is a main feature for James Bond is all of the gadgets that he gets to use. One in particular is gifted to him by Q, and that's his watch.
Does it do anything?
And yeah, I just want to see more gadgets. I think it's going to be cool. I hope you get to upgrade the watch or maybe take other gadgets with you. Now, again, this kind of bleeds in a little bit into that Hitman DNA where you can take like different items with you into the mission. I really hope it doesn't feel the same as Hitman with just a different reskin for James Bond. Maybe there is a little bit of that because it is the same team, it's IO Interactive, but in general, I think the game is having its own identity, so I'm just really excited to see what it's going to be like when it first comes out. I really love the way that they're giving the player many ways of accomplishing the same thing. It just means that you're going to be able to replay the game probably at least a couple of times and not be bored, right? Because you're going to have different ways of tackling the same mission. So that's going to be really fun to see. Now let's talk about the price because it's going to be $70 USD, right? It is a lot of money, but I think in this case, it makes sense. Here's the deal, guys. They're trying to reboot the James Bond series, and we talked about the licensing and how valuable it is. I think they're really trying to go all out for this one and do a major reboot of the series, hopefully making more games. On top of that, they're also releasing a concept car, the Aston Martin Valhalla. And for this one's particular in the game, it says that, or at least in the trailer, it said that this one is specifically only for 00 agents. Obviously, Aston Martin is also involved in this game. So, I mean, yeah, $70 price tag seems pretty reasonable for a game of this size. So if you decide to pre-order 007 First Light, you're going to be able to receive the deluxe edition upgrade and 24-hour early access for free. I think that's pretty cool if you decide to pre-order. In total, you're going to get 4 different outfits. You're going to get the Day of the Dead, which is an outfit that you see in Spectre with Daniel Craig. You're also going to receive a weapon skin called the Agent's Mark, and this weapon actually looks very similar to the Walther P99. I wonder if it is. I can't really tell on the current picture that they have, but it does look very similar. And lastly, you're going to get a gleaming pack, which includes 4 gadget skins for your lighter, your earphones, your dart gun, and your pen. Thank you for staying till the end of the video. And for the next few months, I'm going to be covering 007 First Light until it's released. So if you'd like to keep up to date with all of the news of this game, then consider subscribing, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
What?